So this morning, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger's office announced that it had wrapped up part of its audit to clean up voter rolls in the state of Georgia. Now, it's more than 218,000 people were sent mailers from his office. These voters who are listed as active voters but haven't had any activity in the past 5 years. These people will now have to respond to that mailer or they'll become inactive voters and could eventually be removed from the voter rolls by 2029. In a statement, the Raffensperger said, quote, "Every voter in Georgia is in control of his or her voting registration status. Transparency helps shore up voter public trust in the accuracy and integrity of the entire election process." This comes as one organization is opposed to that purge and is offering folks a way to see whether or not they're on the Secretary's list, all right? And so here with the Fair Fight Action is CEO Lauren Groh-Wargo. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
All right. Before we get into the search tool that we want to get your reaction to what Secretary Raffensperger had to state this morning.
Look, we don't believe that the right to vote is something that should be taken away. We believe that if you're a registered voter and you decide not to vote, that is a valid choice. We obviously encourage people to vote, but we believe your right to vote shouldn't be taken away just because you've chosen not to vote. And so the Secretary of State has initiated a purge of about 500,000 Georgia voters. Voters have until August 20th to respond to their local county or to the state's letter that you talked about to make sure that they stay on the rolls. We think this purge is anything but routine. It is massive, coming on the heels of massive purges every 2 years. And so we're very concerned about this purge, which is why we're doing a lot of advocacy and outreach, why I'm spending time with you this morning to make sure voters know what to do so that they can stay on the rolls. And we've got big local elections coming up this fall here in Atlanta and all over the state. We don't want voters showing up thinking they're registered and then finding out that they are not, because in Georgia, if you show up to vote during early vote and you've been purged, there's nothing you can do in that moment because you cannot register on the same day. You have to register again the following year. So it's really important that voters are just aware that if they get that mailing, they should respond to it, or you can contact your county board of elections. And to your point, we have a tool to make it really easy for you on our website.
Yeah, talk to us about that search tool.
So if you are concerned that you or your loved ones could be on that list, you might have a family member who maybe hasn't been voting, but we generally suggest everybody in Georgia check their voter registration status a couple times a year because these purges have been so big in Georgia. So if you go to fairfight.com/stop-the-purges, you will be able to put your name in and just some very basic information, your zip code and your address. And you'll see if you're on the list or you'll see if your spouse is on the list. And at any time, you can go to the state's My Voter page and check your voter registration status. But right now, because of this massive purge, we've set up this tool for you to see if yourself or your loved ones are on the list. Keep an eye open for the mail, but mail is not great right now in Georgia. I know 11Alive has covered that we have continued to struggle with postal issues in our state. And so that's why we don't like the fact that the state is using any kind of postal data to purge voters. We've had massive postal delays. Last I checked, we were the second worst in the country. So highly suggest call your county board of elections. If you go to Stop the Purges, fairfight.com/stop-the-purges, you can get that contact information to call your local county and make sure you stay on. We are very upset that the Secretary of State has chosen to do this, what we believe is a very big partisan political purge, but we want voters to be empowered to advocate for themselves and their family to make sure that you're able to vote in Georgia if you would like, or that if you want to skip an election, you're absolutely able to skip an election, though we encourage everybody to always vote.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for your insight. Really appreciate it. So hopefully folks will check out the tool. Yeah. Thanks for being with us.